The last Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, dies at 91. A great leader and a great reformer.
He was the kind of Russian leader the world had never seen. Mikhail Gorbachev smiled. He was relaxed. In the West, he acquired almost pop star status for helping to end the Cold War. But at home, it was a different story. Born in the days of dictator Joseph Stalin, Gorbachev became a committed communist, rising fast through the ranks of the Soviet Communist Party to the ruling Politburo. Gorbachev stood out. He was young, energetic, unlike his colleagues. As Kremlin old-timers died in quick succession, the USSR was looking more like a cemetery than a superpower. But in 1985, Gorbachev became leader and launched perestroika, reforms to reinvigorate the Soviet Union. At home, there were Western-style walkabouts. Abroad, he charmed an iron lady and a US president. Together, Gorbachev and Reagan slashed their nuclear arsenals. With a reformer in the Kremlin, Eastern Europe saw a chance to break free from Moscow. When the Berlin Wall fell, crucially, Gorbachev refused to intervene to prop up the Iron Curtain.
Выработана была точка зрения такая вот так, без крови. Не допустить, чтобы огромное дело, касающееся немцев, нас, всей Европы, всего мира.
After decades of Cold War tension and confrontation, Gorbachev, the last Soviet president with a distinctive port wine birthmark on his head, broke with the past. He helped to remove the Iron Curtain that had divided Europe and bring about the reunification of Germany. He struck nuclear arms deals with the United States and brought the Soviet Union closer to the West than at any point since World War II. Gorbachev struck up a rapport with the West and with Ronald Reagan, the hawkish US president who had called the Soviet Union the evil empire. Together they negotiated a landmark deal in 1987 to scrap intermediate-range nuclear missiles. Gorbachev, though, was not able to prevent the Soviet Union's collapse. When pro-democracy protests swept across the Soviet bloc nations of communist Eastern Europe in 1989, he refrained from using force, unlike previous leaders who had sent tanks to crush uprisings in Hungary in 1956 and Czechoslovakia in 1968. But those protests fueled aspirations for autonomy in the 15 republics of the Soviet Union, which disintegrated over the next 2 years in chaotic fashion. Gorbachev became General Secretary of the Soviet Communist Party in 1985 at age 54. He was a reformer, setting out to revitalize the system by introducing limited political and economic freedoms. His policy of glasnost, or free speech, allowed previously unthinkable criticism of the party and the state, but also emboldened nationalists who began to press for independence in the Baltic republics of Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and elsewhere. While he was celebrated in the West, many Russians never forgave Gorbachev for the turbulence that his reforms unleashed, believing it was too high a price to pay for democracy.